Eleanor had always loved the woods behind her grandmother's old house. As a child, she would play there for hours, climbing the moss-covered rocks and following deer trails through the tall pines. But when she returned as an adult, after her grandmother's passing, the forest didn't feel the same. It wasn't just darker, it was watchful. The first night she stayed at the house, Eleanor stood by her window and looked out. The tree line was dense, black shapes swaying in the wind. She thought she saw a flicker of light between the trees, like someone carrying a lantern, but it vanished before she could be sure. The next day, she walked into the woods with a flashlight and her phone. The deeper she went, the quieter it became. No bird song, no rustle of squirrels, just silence pressing in on her. Every few minutes, she thought she heard something faint. A voice, stretched thin and distant, whispering her name. Eleanor. She spun around, shining her light across the trees. Nobody. Her grandmother had always warned her never to go too deep into the forest. "Stay on the paths," she used to say. "The woods don't like strangers." As a child, Eleanor thought it was just superstition. Now she wasn't so sure. That night she woke up to tapping at her window. Not branches, not the wind. Distinct, deliberate taps. She pulled back the curtain and froze. Someone was standing at the edge of the woods, too far to see clearly, but close enough that she could make out the pale oval of a face. The figure didn't move, didn't wave. Just stood there, staring at the house. By morning, the figure was gone. Eleanor told herself it was her imagination, maybe a trick of moonlight. But when she checked the ground outside, she saw footprints in the mud, leading from the woods right up to her window. Bare footprints. That evening she tried to leave. She packed her bag, got into her car, and drove down the narrow road that wound through the forest. But after half an hour, the road still hadn't ended. She checked her GPS. It was blank, just a spinning circle. She should have been in town by now. Then she saw it, her grandmother's mailbox. She slammed the brakes. Somehow she had driven in a perfect loop, straight back to where she started. The woods had closed around her. Terrified, Eleanor ran back into the house and locked every door. As the sun went down, the whispers returned. This time they weren't faint. They were all around the house, circling it like predators. "Eleanor, come with us. Don't be afraid." She pressed her hands over her ears, but the voices were inside her head, sliding through her skull like smoke. Shadows flickered across the walls, though no lights were on. At midnight, the tapping at her window began again. Louder this time, insistent. She forced herself to look. It wasn't just one figure anymore. Dozens of pale faces stared from the tree line. Eyes wide, mouths slightly open, whispering in perfect unison. Their bodies didn't move, but their heads tilted, all at the same unnatural angle. Eleanor screamed and stumbled back, but the voices grew louder. The glass began to rattle, as if about to shatter. Desperate, she grabbed her grandmother's old journal from the shelf. She remembered her saying once, "Everything I know about the woods is in there." The last entry read, "The forest keeps what it wants. If you hear them calling, never answer. Never look too long. Never step off the path." But Eleanor already had. The front door creaked open, slowly, on its own. She didn't remember moving toward it, but her feet were already carrying her across the floor. The whispers filled her skull, soft and tender, like a lullaby. She stepped outside. The figures were waiting. The last thing she felt was the forest swallowing her whole, an endless sea of trees, closing like a mouth. In the morning, the house stood silent and empty. The woods behind it swayed gently in the breeze, as though nothing had ever happened. But if you walk there at night, if you listen closely, you might hear it too. A whisper drifting through the trees, calling your name.